This is the 2022 iPhone 14. Well, at least what we thought it was gonna look like. iPhone rumors can be absolutely crazy. Both crazy good and exciting, and crazy bad, weird, and just plain wrong. If you believe the hype and rumors, you can get all excited for a phone that looks like this, only to really get a phone that's gonna look like this. So let's talk about the 8 biggest features rumored to be coming this year on the 2022 iPhone 14 lineup. Is this going to be an amazing phone with really amazing features, or sort of more of a lackluster year with minimal updates and that's sort of looking boring and disappointing? And a huge thanks to Roborock for sponsoring this video. If someone had asked you back in 2016, 2017 to imagine the 2022 flagship iPhone, you probably would have imagined something like this. It would have some crazy new design, a really beautiful big display, some really great cameras, under display Touch ID, all this really great stuff because a whole lot can change in the tech world in 5 years, right? It seems really promising until it isn't, and actually what we expected isn't happening at all. And now in just about 3 months, the iPhone 14 is officially going to become, well, official. We're finally going to get this new lineup of iPhones, and the rumors will finally be put to bed. But for right now, as we're in sort of this home stretch until we finally get these new phones, there's a lot of crazy theories, rumors, and lots of crazy concepts floating around on what this phone could have and what it should have. And I've got 8 that we have just got to talk about, which some are actually making it to the final cut of this phone, really great, and others are a long, long way from becoming real. Let's start first with the design of the iPhone 14, which is sort of a little polarizing because as you can see, no major redesign is happening this year. This does not look like the iPhone 4 from 2010, no modern sort of throwback. Instead, we're gonna get a lot of the same DNA from the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 12 and even the 11 and 10 series as well. And if you had told me 5 years ago that the notch was still going to exist by and large unchanged in 2022, I would have said you were totally lying, just like I would have said that Face ID not coming to the Mac by 2022 sounded crazy as well, but here we are. There still is no Face ID on the Mac, and the notch on the 14 and 14 Max, the lower end phones, is still a little smaller, but basically unchanged since 2017. And on the Pro end phones, Apple is adopting this new double hole punch system. That is a step in the right direction for sure, but is not the notchless, hole punchless phone that we've all been dreaming about. And what's so interesting about the iPhone 14 series this year is that according to rumors we had heard months ago, this was going to be a big year in terms of the iPhone 14's design. We had heard from multiple sources that the iPhone 14 was gonna get some pretty substantial redesign here, and the phone was going to look, for lack of a better word, radically different, but that does not look like it's gonna be the case really at all. The big question now is, when are we actually going to see some major redesign that's been rumored and rumored and rumored to be happening for years? And the only way I can really answer that question is with more speculation and more rumors, because according to the rumor mill, it could happen with the iPhone 15, but we really don't know. Maybe Apple is sort of saving their R&D budget and energy on other projects like the headset and future Apple Watch models and other crazy projects. Or maybe we're going to see some bigger redesign happen next year with the 15, or maybe the year after with the 16, but we really don't know when some major redesign is coming. We know Apple's working on a foldable iPhone and some other sort of prototype models, but for the foreseeable future, it looks like the iPhone's design might be largely unchanged, at least for now. But hold on a second, that is not to say there is bad news here with the iPhone 14, because there's a lot of great stuff we've got to talk about, including one rumor that is finally, knock on wood, looking to be coming true, and that is an always-on display mode coming to the iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro Max. Basically, these Pro and iPhones will be able to go into sort of an ultra-low power mode that keeps the screen on, so you'll still be able to see the time, you should still be able to see some information from these lock screen widgets, maybe some notifications as they pop in. Unclear exactly how this is going to work, but it looks like a done deal and like it is hopefully for sure coming to these Pro and iPhones this year, though of course, as always, there is a lot of controversy surrounding this feature. What we're hearing right now is that Apple is going to lower the minimum refresh rate on the 14 Pros from 10 Hertz to 1 Hertz to really keep your phone conserving as much energy as possible, but still allowing the display to refresh when needed. So basically, you can go from 10 Hertz to 1 Hertz on the 14 Pros, which you can't do on the 13 Pros, though you technically still could do an always-on display mode on these phones. It would just be less efficient, at least in theory. And I'm curious, what are your guys' thoughts on Apple software locking features for newer phones? We saw it with Siri, we've seen it with some other things over the years. Do you think that Apple should allow you to use your 13 Pro and turn on this lock screen always on mode if you're willing to sacrifice battery life? Or do you think it's in your best interest if Apple sort of tells you what to do and keeps this only on the 14 Pros? Now, one of the hottest rumors we have been hearing about for years and years and years is the mythical idea of both Face ID and Touch ID on your iPhone. This was supposedly a done deal for the iPhone 13 Pro last year. It seemed like it was definitely going to happen. Of course, it's for sure happening. Then one day, the rumor just sort of fell off the face of the earth and no one ever talked about it, and it never happened. Sort of long story short, it seemed like Apple was testing the idea, but they didn't decide to move forward, which sort of begs the question, could we see Touch ID and Face ID this year on the iPhone 14 Pro? Now, before we continue, let's take a quick break because I want to show off to you guys what is hands down one of my favorite pieces of tech of all time. And that is this, the Roborock S7 Max V Ultra. And of course, this is all made by this video sponsor, Roborock. This is by far the most impressed I have ever been with a robot vacuum ever. In particular, one of my favorite features here is Reactive AI 2.0. This is Roborock's upgraded obstacle recognition and avoidance technology, which is powered by 3D structured light tech, an RGB camera, and a neural processing unit, the NPU, which basically helps the vacuum quickly identify obstacles and adapt accordingly. And from my personal experience here, the S7 Max V definitely is more confident in its cleaning. It's super fast, which is really awesome to see. It's quiet, and besides all this really cool tech, it's also just a really great vacuum and mop as well. With 5100 PA of extreme suction power, it can do a great job of sort of removing dust and debris from floors and also do a better job cleaning deeper into those pesky carpets. Roborock's built-in sonic mopping technology scrubs the floor up to 3,000 times per minute with consistently high pressure and has done wonders on my floor. It always keeps it really clean. But that's not all, because the other component here is the empty wash fill dock, which takes things to another level. Once a vacuum is finished, it'll automatically return to the dock and a few things can happen. First, it can automatically start to charge the vacuum. It can remove debris captured from the vacuum into these self-sealing E12 rated dust bags that actually capture 99.5 of dust, allergens, and particles and go up to 7 weeks without emptying. The dock can also automatically replenish the water in the vacuum used for mopping if needed, and also it can automatically wash the mop when needed as well. And of course, with all these smarts built in, you can track the cleaning progress, switch between different modes, check out maps, and so much more with the Roborock companion app. And there are some special limited time savings for Amazon Prime Day going on right now as well. The amazing S7 Max V is on sale for a limited time for Amazon Prime Day. It's gonna be 10% off on July 12th and July 13th. Limited time savings. You don't wanna miss that deal. And if you need a dock, you can pick that up separately as well. I am just a huge Roborock fan and I absolutely love the S7 Max V Ultra. It has totally changed cleaning in my house. I really don't have to do anything because the robots do all the hard work for me. It is awesome. I love this system. I know you guys will love it as well. So if you guys want to learn more and check it out for yourself today, click that link right down below and learn more about the Roborock S7 Max V Ultra. Again, I love it. I know you guys will love it as well. So check it out today at the link right down below. And the answer is no. Doesn't look like it's gonna happen this year, unfortunately, though Apple does continue to explore this. We've seen multiple patents where Apple is working on this like under display zone where you can put your finger basically anywhere in like the bottom quarter of the display and it'll unlock, which is super cool. But it seems like it's just not ready for prime time just yet. There have been rumors that maybe 3 to 4 years down the road, Apple could bring back Touch ID with Face ID. But as of right now, it seems like Touch ID is just going to remain on sort of other Apple products like the Max and the lower end iPhones, and Face ID is going to continue to be sort of the main unlocking method for their higher end phones, basically the flagship series, the 14, 14 Max, the Pro models. Another very interesting rumor that we've been hearing about for years is that Apple wants to eventually remove the port on the iPhone and basically make a portless and one day buttonless phone that has no ports, no buttons, just one slab of glass and stainless steel or aluminum. Sounds crazy, but it actually might be happening, or at least we thought it was going to. We had heard, I think it was last year, that we could see a portless phone as early as 2021, 2022. It seemed like we were getting closer and closer to the portless iPhone existing, and then, just like Face ID and Touch ID, that rumor sort of just fell off the rumor mill, and looks like it's not happening anymore. In fact, actually some good news here. Not only is a portless phone not actually looking like it's gonna happen, but Apple might actually switch from Lightning over to USB-C as early as next year with the iPhone 15. More good news for the iPhone 14 series is about better cameras. Obviously, one of the rumors every single year is the iPhone camera is going to get better and better. We want a larger main sensor. We want 8K video recording. We want the camera to be the best on this iPhone. And good news here is that this year, the iPhone 14, specifically the Pro series, is going to have an amazing camera system that is getting better and better and better every new rumor we hear. As of right now, looking like a 48 megapixel main camera is going to be the star of the show for these Pro-owned iPhones. Apple is going to use pixel binning to basically give you higher quality 12 megapixel stills, which should be really nice, sharper, hopefully some more detail here. Colors should look really good. Super excited to see the photos you're able to capture on these phones, as well as 8K video recording. This has been a persistent rumor that has stuck around for months and months. I think it's a little ambitious. I don't know if we're actually going to see this, but we could see some even better video recording functionality on the iPhone 14 Pro series. And then for all iPhone 14 models, we should be getting an upgraded selfie camera that should allow more light to come into that sensor, and also better autofocusing capabilities. So some better cameras all around for the iPhone 14s this year, and especially the Pros. If you are really wanting a camera upgrade, definitely get a Pro this year because it's looking like it's going to be a really versatile camera system. I think one of the things we sort of expect to see every few years is that hopefully Apple would sort of offer some lower cost offerings. Obviously, iPhone prices have made some big jumps year over year, in a couple of years in particular, especially with the iPhone 10, for example, but mostly they've stayed largely unchanged or about the same. But what about this year? There's a lot of speculation that prices of the iPhone could increase this year. We just saw the iPhone SE go up $29, which isn't, huge, but also isn't insignificant. And there's a big, question right now is, could we see prices go up on the iPhone 14, or could Apple actually give us a cheaper model? Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of pricing info here. I'd expect the phones to remain largely the same in terms of price, so we just don't know. Though there is a silver lining here, and that is the 14 Max. This is the phone that has a beautiful 6.7-inch OLED display, but it's not a Pro Max, so it doesn't have ProRes video, doesn't have 3 cameras, no ProMotion display. But if you want a large screen iPhone, but you don't need those Pro end features and you don't need the Pro Max phone, here's a way to get that large screen iPhone for a much cheaper price, or at least a considerable discount than going for the Pro Max. I know it's not exactly the same, but hopefully if you want a large screen iPhone, you can get into that world for under $1,000 instead of spending what, $1,100 or $1,200 on a Pro Max. You can pick up a regular 14 Max for hopefully $799, $899. We're not exactly sure what pricing is going to be, but hopefully for under $1,000, you can pick up this new large screen, more affordable iPhone 14 Max. So a little bit of good news and bad news in there as well. We'll just have to see in September what pricing ends up being. Last up here, 2 secret features that have been rumored to be happening for years that might finally be happening. One is the built-in emergency satellite connectivity that basically allows your phone to send a text or a call over the satellites orbiting the Earth. That looks like it's actually going to happen this year and come to every single iPhone 14 model. And then reverse wireless charging, which is a head scratcher because it does kind of sort of already exist, but only on Apple's MagSafe battery pack, not on any other accessory made by Apple or any third party. Now I wanna know your thoughts though. If we could rewind the clock and go back to 2017, what would you imagine the iPhone in 5 years looking like? I guess even right now, what would you imagine the 2027 iPhone to look like? Do you think we'd see a major redesign? Would it be all screen all the way around? Would we have multiple screens? What would the camera be like? What would the unlock mechanism be? Would it be Face ID, Touch ID, something crazy different? Let me know your thoughts down below. And do you think the iPhone 14 is gonna live up to the hype? Do you think that there are enough features here to make this a really great iPhone model? Or are you disappointed and just sort of waiting for a lot of these rumored features to finally become reality? Let me know your thoughts down below to this stuff. As always, I appreciate you guys watching the Apple Circle. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Personally, hey, you, thank you very much. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and I'll see you all in the next one.